Hello everyone, Zita tells a story in which the sister was constantly trying go to the neighbor, go to back her ex and wedding day. Yes, crazy story. Enjoy your wedding. Your opinion in the comments.
My sister constantly tried to make me go back to my ex, including at family events even on my wedding day. When my mother attempted to force a reunion between my sister and me, it went horribly wrong. Here's the story. I began dating my brother's close friend Ethan when I was 14. We stayed together until I finished high school, at which point he asked me to marry him. I declined. This led to a lot of family drama, with them pushing me to reconsider, suggesting a long engagement or some sort of promise to repair our relationship. My relationship with my brother Jack, who is now 34, suffered for a while. However, the one with my sister Sarah, who is 31, never recovered. She was convinced Ethan was ideal for me, and things became unbearable when she started dating Ethan's brother Mike. Ethan was invited to everything by my siblings, including family holidays. I didn't object because he was their friend too, until Sarah began trying to get us back together. She tried everything, from setting us up on blind dates to arranging for us to share a room during holidays. No matter the occasion, Ethan was always included. Eventually, I had enough and asked my parents, Mary and John, to intervene. They were clear with my siblings, stopping the constant invitations to Ethan. While Jack backed off, Sarah did not. The situation escalated when I met my future husband, Brian, during a study abroad program. He attended a different university in the same country, and we just clicked. It was incredible for me, and we got engaged after dating for a year. My family was delighted for me, except Sarah. She kept insisting I was in the honeymoon phase and would eventually grow out of it. Despite numerous arguments and attempts to reunite me with Ethan, I finally told her that if she pulled any more stunts, I would cut her off. What did she do? At her wedding, she made me her maid of honor and insisted I spend all my time with the bridal party, which included Ethan. She even set one of her friends, Laura, as Brian's date for the day. We only realized at the reception that Laura tried to make a move on Brian. Sarah claimed that since we weren't married yet, it was fine to explore other options. I left the party, and the next day I spoke with Mary, John, and Jack. I told them that while I wouldn't force them to choose sides, I would no longer speak to Sarah. If they tried to reconcile us, I would cut contact with them too. Mary was heartbroken and tried to negotiate, but John and Jack respected my decision. Apart from 2 attempts from Mary, I haven't spoken or interacted with Sarah in the past 4 years. Sarah has tried everything to mend things, from gifts to tantrums. I simply don't acknowledge her at all. If we are at a family event or dinner, I act as though she doesn't exist. Initially, she made sarcastic comments or tried to create drama, but since nobody supported her, she gave up. She had a meltdown when she learned she was invited to my wedding but would not be involved in any preparations. Jack feels guilty for going along with it for so long, and his relationship with Ethan has suffered. They still talk, but are not as close. The issue resurfaced recently. Mary's birthday was a couple of weeks ago, and I finally announced we were expecting our first child. While this isn't the first grandchild, it is the first granddaughter. Everyone was thrilled except Sarah. Mary noticed and invited me over for tea. My instincts told me not to go, but I wanted to stay positive. The first thing I saw when I arrived was Sarah's car. Inside, there were Sarah, her husband, Mike, Ethan, and Ethan's mother, Carol. They wanted to have an intervention, accusing me of using an immature tactic for too long. Ethan claimed he was just trying to be romantic, but he understood that. Ethan couldn't appreciate it, and his mom said I was just hurting my sister for wanting the best for me, and that she had already apologized, so I needed to forgive her. I was just sending texts to my family, John, Jake, and Brian, looking at Linda in disbelief. Chris had the audacity to tell me I was a hurtful person and needed to learn how to act like an adult since I was having a baby now. Then Linda began reading a letter about how hurt she was that her daughters weren't close, how Lisa was wrong but well-intended, etc. Then Lisa read her letter and began crying, telling me essentially the same thing as the others. I said nothing to anyone. I just sat there until Jake arrived. He was angrier than I'd ever seen him before. He grabbed my stuff and told them all he was really disappointed and disgusted. We went outside and sat in his car until John and Brian arrived. By then, I was just sobbing, and Jake kept saying sorry. I'm unsure what happened inside, but I sent everyone except Linda an email with my lawyer's number attached, stating I don't wish to be contacted by any of them ever again. If they do, I will go to the police. No one has contacted me, but I know from John that Linda and Lisa are hysterical. They told him they hoped to repair things and for Lisa to be able to be in my baby's life, possibly even being a godmother. John is staying with Jake at the moment. They support me, but some others in the family don't. Even had mutual friends call me, worried about Lisa's well-being and asking me what happened since she is now claiming that Brian is keeping me away from my family. I hate having my business made public, but I did go the public route and posted a long Facebook post about everything that happened. Lisa, Chris, and Ethan are being criticized, which, even if it wasn't entirely intended, I feel is deserved. Now Linda has been inconsolable, which does make me feel bad, but not as bad as she made me feel with her little intervention. I agreed to have a talk with her a few days ago and laid out the ground rules for any possible future interaction, including therapy, family therapy, clear boundaries, no sharing information about me with Lisa, and separate holidays. Most importantly, if she ever pulls anything like this again, she will definitely be cut off. She feels this is too much, but is willing to do it. She thought it meant immediate access to baby news and that everything was solved, but I told her it's a process and she needs to prove she has improved. John and Jake refuse to talk to Lisa and keep apologizing for not stopping it earlier. We've forgiven them since they were able to move on and grow. Brian supports whatever I decide, but my mother-in-law is unsure if cutting Linda's access to her granddaughter is the way to go, but says it is ultimately my decision. I am torn about what to do with Linda. TLDR. I haven't talked to my sister in 6 years because of her obsession with me and my ex. My mom organized an intervention on her behalf so we could reconcile, and now I'm unsure if I even want my mom in my life anymore. Relevant comments by me. In response to a commenter saying Lisa is unhinged, she got fixated on the idea that we could both be married to brothers and be best friends. In response to another comment about Ethan not being able to move on almost 20 years later. The most ridiculous and scary thing is that he still has the mixtape CDs I made him when we were dating. Those things are about 20 years old, and he still holds on to them. In response to a commenter asking if my family is Indian or religious, I am neither Indian nor from a religious family. My parents were good, kind parents. They thought it was a romantic thing at the beginning, but later realized it wasn't. They encouraged me to go to college and everything. Now I know my dad actually supported me, and my mom might have just played along and had the same beliefs as my sister. My sister had this idea that we would be best friends, married to brothers. Some more background info and a small update posted to my own Reddit page. The edit I wanted to post, but couldn't I want to thank you for the amount of support and advice you have given so far. I want to give a little more information in my comments since there are too many for me to answer them all individually. My ex and I broke up when I was 19, and he is 36 now. The reason for our breakup was that I didn't want to get married or engaged. My sister's insistence comes from her fixation on wanting both of us to marry brothers and be best friends. My mom has always been so nice to my husband, but I am beginning to think it was all a facade, which makes me very sad. My ex has been with other people since the breakup. He also has 2 kids with an ex, but has never been married. My sister says that it is a very romantic thing to do since he has only ever wanted to marry me. I should also mention that his obsessive behavior is not only with me. I know from the grapevine that he was very similar to the mother of his children, but now he is refocusing on me because my sister is encouraging it. She needs his help in getting back into my good graces so she can be a good aunt. My brother started to cut him off when I told my parents I was very uncomfortable with my ex being around all the time. I was living away for college but would visit my family during breaks. He also made a very big effort to make my husband feel welcome, which deteriorated his relationship with my ex even more because he felt betrayed by my brother. Nowadays, my husband is one of my brother's closest friends, and he only speaks with my ex when it is about our nephew, our sister's son, or to avoid being rude. Both my parents seem to be supportive of me not wanting to be around my ex so much, but I guess only my dad was in agreement. On the day of the tea party, my mom told him she was making me my favorite tea and sweets. But he couldn't stay since we would have quality time together. My dad left to go hang with my uncle since he thought it was a nice sentiment for my mom. He is very pissed off now. My husband tried very hard with my sister when they met, but now he just ignores her and believes she is mentally ill. We don't know if she is or not, but there is no excuse for how she behaves. They invited the ex and his mom because they thought it would be good for me to face the root of my issues with my sister, or at least that's their official version. Also, we are not Indian or particularly religious. My husband and I are from the same race. There is also no wealth disparity between my ex and my husband. If there is, it would be in favor of my husband. Lastly, my sisters-in-law, both my brother's wife and my husband's sisters, are enraged about the situation. My husband and his sisters will be talking with their mom about her comment. My brother and his wife are considering going no contact permanently with my mom, and in the meantime, they will not allow her to see my nephew for a bit. The more I read, the more I think I might have to go no contact with my mom for the sake of my child. My husband is heartbroken to think all their interactions were fake, but he says he is even more enraged that she made me cry and doubt I was a good person. I realize there are still countless conversations to have with my family about my mom, but I will definitely be going for a restraining order against my sister and my ex. Update on the state of my family so far. I had a conversation with my mother, but she insists she knows best. She called me a bad person and said she will be getting grandparents' rights or even custody. I'm nothing like what she says, but I still panicked, so we sent her a letter about it. My dad definitely moved out. He told her that he could not support her terrorizing her own child. My brother and his wife also decided to go no contact. I know it seems very sudden, but I think I underestimated the level of dissatisfaction I had after the intervention. My husband told them afterward they had to think very well about what they appreciated and to be kind and receptive to everything, but he would not raise a kid in a toxic environment. Reason 3,270,637 why I love my husband. My husband is very heartbroken about my mom and her fakeness. He says she will never get anything from him that is as much as revenge goes here. My husband and sisters talked to my mother-in-law about her comment and made her understand why it was very out of line. As many of you assumed, she was a very loving mom from a loving family. My dad and brother keep apologizing for any role they played in this. My dad can't believe it went this far. He says it is still surreal for him. Regardless, they support me no matter what and say they are willing to help me fight whatever ridiculous fight my mom or sister puts up. Final update posted to my Reddit page, or at least I hope it is. I want to thank you for the lovely messages and encouraging words. I decided to post it here so it wouldn't be deleted like the original. Things are great and horrible at the same time, but I am trying to remain positive about everything. My brother and his wife sat my nephews down and explained that Grandma was ill and tried to hurt Aunt Annie and the little cousin. They explained that Grandma would not be part of their lives anymore, but that doesn't mean she doesn't love them. It was really hard, but the kids are smart. They were also told their other aunt is no longer in their lives, but they don't care because they dislike her. Not because of me alone, but simply because she is not exactly great with them either. My mom lost it when she was informed and started claiming she had rights and would get to see her grandchildren. My dad is looking for a permanent place, but will stay with us until January, mainly due to my brother's mother-in-law coming to visit and us having the space. He is really sad, has called divorce lawyers, already moved bank stuff, etc. He has been getting countless emails, messages, and calls from my mom, but he doesn't reply to anything. The lawyer told him not to block her right now. He considered maybe forgiving her, but I got a huge spike in my blood pressure a couple of days after my last post here because she decided to come to my place with my sister. My sister had never been to my home. My mom knew I didn't want her there, but I guess that doesn't matter anymore. The cleaning lady let them in since she knows my mom, and I hadn't had the time to inform her she was not allowed to come in anymore. I was just coming back from some errands and I saw the car, but this time I didn't go in. I called all of my relatives, and my husband's sister was the one closer to me. She confronted them and told them either they should leave or I would call the police on them for trespassing. They left, and I started feeling bad. We went to the doctor, and they told me all the excitement was not good, and I needed to start relaxing or it would hurt the baby. My dad went home with my brother, uncle, and husband and took every single thing he could think of. My husband says my sister was there too, and she kept yelling at him that he ruined her family. My dad told my mom and sister that they nearly harmed the baby, and he also doesn't want to speak to any of them again. My sister kept messaging my brother, pleading for help, but this isn't happening. I am heartbroken and deeply saddened for my nephew since he is losing a significant part of his family due to his mother's irrational ideas. But it is what it is. Regarding the custody and grandparents' rights my mom wants to assert, my lawyer sent her a letter stating she caused harm to my health and the baby, and if she continues harassing me, it will become a formal legal issue. My brother also sent her a letter about her harassment. Both my mom and sister have refused to go to therapy. They might have mental health issues, but with everything coming to light, it is clear they have been in agreement for a long time. I will focus on spending the holidays with my family, staying healthy, and attending therapy. Update. Thank you, Reddit family. Hi, I've received some requests for an update and had a little time, so I decided it would be a good fit. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your comments, messages, and all the advice. Some people asked me how we found out the baby's gender. I announced it after 22 weeks. The reason for waiting so long is that we experienced a loss in the past, which we were preparing to announce when it happened, and we wanted to be sure and feel secure about the announcement. Also, we naively thought it would be special for my mom. And you were right. After posting, I handed it to my husband, and he read your messages, comments, and advice for several days. We swept the house and thankfully found nothing, but we felt extremely unsafe. So we went to a hotel with my dad. Then we realized there was a tracker on my dog's vest. He is a very small dog and gets cold a lot, so he wears a cute vest. Never in a million years would I have thought to look there, but we discovered the tracker when my dad walked him around the hotel area, and my sister showed up asking about me and reconciliation. I was really upset, so we decided to move. Thankfully, we can afford it. We are renting for now and also renting out our place, so it isn't just sitting empty. I used to love that house, but now I feel it is ruined and tainted somehow. Sadly, my parents' house feels the same, and not only for me. We all, my brother, husband, dad, sister-in-law, and even my husband's family changed our numbers, got new electronics, and notified employers, friends, and the police. We also started therapy and family therapy. My dad and brother feel extreme guilt over the situation, even though I have truly forgiven them, but we are healing as a unit. My sister and mom insist they are not wrong and don't need therapy. My dad made a new will in which my sister's son gets a trust fund and some inheritance, but my sister gets a token amount. He is truly done with her. I felt bad for her, but I decided to focus my energy on my baby. She is here, and we are blessed. It is not the experience I envisioned since my mom is not around me anymore, but so many friends and family members have truly surprised us. In the end, we were so paranoid that we started testing some people we were unsure about by telling them I was going into labor. It worked perfectly. We discovered who was still feeding information to my mom and sister and cut them out. The rest understood when we explained the reasoning. My ex, whom my friends now call Bates, went around saying the baby was his because we've been having a torrid affair due to my undying love for him. Nobody believes him anymore, but it made my husband. We contacted Bates' employer and told them about all the craziness. Long story short, he was put on suspension pending an internal review. I am almost positive he will be fired since they have asked us for more and more information and seem very apologetic. My mom has tried to find us, but all the people who know our location have gone no contact with her. My dad's lawyer sent her a letter stating that due to her instability, all correspondence will be through lawyers now. It's been just us and my dad because I felt so bad for him being alone. He has promised he will be fine and that nothing is my fault, but I still feel awful. He has been the best babysitter, feeder, and diaper changer in the universe. My nephews are as loving as always, and my dad even got a visit from my sister's son. This came about because she kept making videos threatening to hurt herself if my husband didn't stop alienating her family. So my dad emailed her about seeing her son and told her he would call the police about her threats, which seems to have stopped them. Lastly, someone mentioned that I gave Bates false hope. That couldn't be further from the truth. I spent years feeling uncomfortable, hoping he would move on. After I spoke up and then met my husband, I spent a long time fighting my sister about it. I had a very long engagement, which is why I married after my sister. I still love my mom and sister, but I choose a healthy life for me and my family over that love. I have discovered a lot of loyalty, love, and compassion through this whole ordeal. As strange as it may seem, I feel lucky that it all exploded. Hopefully this is not too much of a ramble. Big hugs from me. Update, a little Bates update. Hi Reddit, I am happy to report that we are all alive and well in a new house and the baby is thriving. Bates was fired. Longer version. We officially moved into a new house with my dad moving into the guest house. We had many discussions both inside and outside of therapy, and we decided that while it would be good for him to be with us, we all still needed our space. We are still renting out the old place and will decide what to do with it later. My dad has the grandchildren all together about 3 times a week now, but he still has to see my sister's kids separately since she refuses to let him take the kids unless she knows where he lives. While this is a normal thing, considering she is unstable, we don't want her close. My mom complained to the lawyers about how unfair it is that my dad still gets to see all the grandchildren, but there is nothing she can do about it. About a month ago, my dad told me he had a confession, and my stomach started hurting, dear reader. He pays for my nephew's schooling and babysitting, which is why she still allows him to see them. He felt so guilty for hiding it and didn't want to keep secrets. I assured him there was nothing wrong and asked him to please not feel bad. On Mother's Day, my dad got an email with a link to an Instagram account where they made a sad video about my mom, how most of her family has abandoned her, and how much of a saint my sister is for being there for her. It was really pathetic and enraged me, but I just sent it to the lawyer. Dad officially filed for divorce in May, and the process is still ongoing. My mom insists he is wrong, but my dad said he'd rather drink bleach than go back to her, so I think that is final. My brother and husband took my dad out for Father's Day, and they had a blast. My sister posted many things that day, but they managed to block my dad from even learning about them because we wanted him to enjoy the day. They also did a camping trip with the kids, which actually meant going to a hotel, getting a suite, and setting up a tent in the room. The play area for the kids and a small tent for the baby are such hits. Honestly, becoming a parent is one of the most wonderful things that have happened to me. Watching my husband excel as a father brings me so much joy. It's exhausting, but we are incredibly supported, and I feel immensely grateful for having such a strong partner. My sisters-in-law and I now have a shared calendar for coordinating activities. The kids are engaged in age-appropriate activities and are encouraged to speak up if they don't want to spend time with someone they dislike. Right now, they're all enamored with the baby, calling themselves her protectors. We enjoy frequent family gatherings, brunches, and more. Without my sister around, family time has become a pleasure rather than a stressor. I know it's harsh to say, but she drains the positivity from the room. My mother-in-law loves spending time with the baby and stays in the guest room once a week. She asked respectfully and made it clear she didn't want to take the baby for overnight stays. I feel very respected and heard by her. Yes, I've had moments of breaking down because I miss the mom I thought I had, not the one who criticized me harshly. My therapist advises me to focus on the positives and recognize this journey as a marathon. Speaking of positives, Bates was fired. Not only that, but his professional reputation took a massive hit. His brother's reputation also suffered, but since Bill works in an industry that's less concerned with reputation, he still has his job. Bates sent me a lengthy 12-page letter, single-spaced, about how hurt he is. He claimed I'm denying him his rights, and that my husband is so threatened by him that he sabotaged his career because he couldn't ruin anything else. I didn't read it, my lawyer did, and summarized it for me. I also heard from others that Bates' ex moved away with their children, and he didn't care, saying it was for the best. This man, who neglects his own kids, wants to play family with me and my baby. Unfortunately, he won't be homeless because his mom took him back in, so I doubt he'll learn anything from this. This isn't the most dramatic update, but it's what's happening. My husband decided to burn or donate everything given to us by my mom or parents, with my dad's approval. He believes life is too short to allow her any space in our lives, even through memories.
Hi guys, it's really crazy story. While using, like and subscribe to channel on Instagram and Discord. Good luck.